Welcome to the Vermont PBIS Intensive Level Family Engagement Online Learning Module. The Vermont Family Network, working in partnership with the Vermont PBIS team, is pleased to present this module. For maximum benefit, we suggest that you view this online module with your school leadership team before your team's training at the intensive level. Our agenda is to look at family engagement at the intensive level and also to present 2 after-webinar activities. When considering all of the learning waking hours children have from the time they are born until they graduate from high school, they spend only about 15% of that learning time at school and the rest somewhere else, primarily at home with parents. I'd like to start with a story, which is an excerpt from the book, Everything is Normal Until Proven Otherwise. This is the perspective written by a parent. When my son was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, I remember the unspoken accusation and implied responsibility that came with the diagnoses and that hung almost visibly in the air before settling across my shoulders like a mantle of lead. No one thought to ask the questions, do you have other children and how are they? What do you think we should do? What is your son really good at? What are some of the things you do to support your child emotionally? How can we work together? Instead, recommended parenting classes and asking for what other family problems we existed were the questions that were asked. I was not consulted about the area in which I possessed the greatest expertise, my own child. On that day, I became the origin of the problem, not the knowledgeable collaborator. Think about the family or families of the children you've identified for the intensive level. What is their story and how do you honor it? There are various definitions of family engagement, including this one. Family engagement is a shared responsibility of families, schools, and communities for student learning and achievement. It is continuous from birth to young adulthood, and it occurs across multiple settings where children learn. Vermont Family Network facilitated a family engagement workshop at the 2014 Best Summer Institute, and when we asked colleagues from schools across Vermont, what does family engagement mean to them? Some of the responses included strong partnership, parents attending school activities and conferences, the schools feeling like a non-threatening place, having parents volunteering at the school, and parents helping to problem solve. So who are we talking about when we say family? It is the child's primary caretakers, whether that is a single parent, a mother and a father, grandparents, kin, foster parents, or a guardian. Family engagement also means addressing the needs of the entire family, which may include younger siblings and others who have a role in creating success for that student. The primary focus at the universal and targeted levels is family involvement, schools defining the processes and families' roles in that process. At the intensive level, the focus shifts to family engagement, where families are equal collaborative partners. Your engagement practices at the intensive level are built on the strong foundation that you've created at the universal and targeted level. By now, you're very familiar with the family engagement checklist. It consists of 5 areas and 19 tasks. One of the after-webinar activities will be for your team to take a look at your checklist and ask what's working and what still do we need to do. The benefits of family-school partnerships have been studied for nearly 3 decades. Benefits include higher test scores, better grades, better attendance, greater homework completion, more positive student motivation, and improved attitudes about schoolwork. More specifically, when there's family engagement, students exhibit more positive attitudes and behavior. When students report feeling support from both home and school, they have more self-confidence, feel school is more important, and they tend to do better in school. At-risk behaviors also decrease. There's also demonstrated benefits for teachers and schools, including greater job satisfaction and higher ratings of teaching skills from both parents and principals. Research tells us that family engagement is important in PBIS. Specifically, the lack of full family engagement has been found to be a major impediment to treatment success. And also we know that the outcomes for children's mental health care tend to be better when families are engaged. Engaging families at the intensive level is both planned and intentional. It is strengths-based and follows the approach of family voice and choice. Family voice and choice means that family and the child or youth's perspectives are intentionally elicited and prioritized. The planning is grounded in family members' perspectives, and the team strives to provide options and choices so that the plan reflects family values and preferences. Research tells us that people who feel included as part of a decision-making process are more likely to follow through on their roles in any team plan. Here are the people who are typically invited to participate on an intensive level team. Others may include people who have worked with the student and family at the targeted level, as well as the family's natural supports. If the student has an individualized education program that has a behavior plan, someone from the IEP team with knowledge of the behavior plan should also be on the intensive level team. This will help to ensure good communication between the two teams. Engaging the family can be challenging. Power imbalances can be actual or perceived. There are both formal and informal forms of power. Formal power includes access to resources, where informal power includes communication skills and having experience with various service providers. Effective teams address power imbalances early and throughout. They have their antennas out looking for and responding to imbalances. Creating balance does not disempower the more powerful. It builds the capacities of all the people at the table so that they can more equitably engage each other. Another idea to help with family engagement is to understand positions versus interests. As you can see in this picture, the top represents the positions or the what, whereas the interests run deeply underneath the surface. At the heart of many conflicts is a focus on the different participants' positions as opposed to their interests. We're really used to stating our positions, what we want or what we'll settle for. We're not used to going into meetings ready to express or even necessarily be clear about our underlying interests. This contributes to the likelihood of disputes. It's important to find the interests and needs by asking questions that define underlying interests. By identifying agreement on underlying interests, more possible solutions which would be agreeable to all are uncovered. At the 2014 Summer Best Institute workshop on family engagement, educators throughout Vermont were asked, what do families need to engage with families? There were pages and pages of responses that fell into these 5 categories: common goals, communication, support and resources, trust and respect, and having a welcoming environment. The same participants at the workshop were asked the question, what do families need to engage with school? Again, many responses that fell into the categories of building relationships, communication, empowering families, and supporting families. One question to ask yourself is, how self-aware are you? Do you have preconceived ideas such as, when the parents don't participate, that means to me that they don't care about their child's education? Be aware of what thoughts you bring into a meeting, because these preconceived ideas or notions can affect the outcome of the meeting. Parents come from the perspective of lifelong intimate knowledge and connection to their child. Parents have a relatively long-term investment, and educators who are trained to do this work have a relatively short-term investment in the child. Both are important. Both parties usually have honorable intentions, just different ideas or perspectives. All families have dreams for their children and want what is best for them. People's perceptions will differ. This is normal, The more varied the backgrounds, the more different the perceptions of truth and reality may be. This will affect communication. We will never know all there is to know about another person, so try not to judge. Assume intentions are honorable. Ask clarifying questions instead of making assumptions. Behavior changes through self-awareness and sensitivity. The old saying, whatever you believe, you're right. So for example, if you believe that engaging the family is possible, it will probably happen. And likewise, if you don't believe it's possible, you're right too. Another way to engage families is to follow the advice of Stephen Covey, which is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. It is only possible to get to the underlying interest in any conversation if we truly listen. Only when a person feels understood will he seek to fully understand another person. The truth is, someone has to go first or you're stuck. Unless I feel you are making a genuine effort and succeeding in understanding me, most of my attention will be spent on readying my next point so that you will understand me. Energy that I could be using listening to you will instead be spent on continuing to have you understand me. Bottom line, listening is the most cost-effective skill you could use to avoid a disagreement or in preventing one from escalating. The savings from active and reflective listening comes from a decrease in disagreements, a promotion of teamwork, and saving time. If listening is cost-effective, not listening can be costly. When we see parents as partners, we listen to each other, share ideas, and respect each other's unique experience and expertise. We develop plans together and stay in touch as we carry them out. This simple attitude, the difference between clients and partners, makes all the difference. Choosing words that reinforce partnership are shown on this slide. When we see each other as partners, we are likely to go hard on the problem and soft on the people. Language can be one of the many real barriers to family engagement. What you write and say can enhance the dignity of children and adults with disabilities and promote positive attitudes about abilities. When you choose words with dignity, you put the person before the disability. Thus, this approach is referred to as people-first language. For example, say a child receiving intensive level supports rather than intensive children. Say a student with an emotional disturbance rather than ED kids. One of VFN's norms at Vermont Family Network is that we are loyal to the absent and use the power of our words in the direction of truth and caring. We do believe that engaging families is important, and we hope that some of the ideas we've presented in today's module are helpful. Now that you've listened to this module, please work as a team to complete these activities, which are described in your intensive workbook. In closing, a final thought. No matter how skilled professionals are, or how loving families are, each cannot achieve alone what the parties working hand in hand can accomplish together. Thank you for listening to this module. Have a great day.